Hello everyone and welcome back. Now with this latest patch, a brand new affix was added and it's finally in the rotation, and that affix is bursting. Now let's go over exactly what it does and what we can do to counter it. So for bursting, whenever a mob dies, every player in the party gets a debuff that makes them take 10% of their HP as damage over the course of 4 seconds, and each tick is 2 seconds. So a few things that are very important to note about this debuff is that you cannot line of sight it, and the range required to not get it seems to be about 40 to 50 yards, so it's not really feasible to run away out of melee range because this debuff has a really big range. Also, this debuff does stack, so that means that if you pull a pack of 10 mobs and kill them all at the same time, you'll have 10 stacks of this debuff, causing you to lose 100% of your HP over the course of 4 seconds. So in 2 ticks, you'll die. There are a few things we can do to counteract this, so let's just start going over that. Now the easiest thing to do is to just stagger your pulls. Instead of pulling 10 to 20 mobs at a time, you're going to be pulling anywhere between 2 to 6 mobs at a time. This means that tops, you'll have 6 debuffs on you, which means you'll lose 60% of your HP, giving you a decent buffer to survive the other damage that you're going to be taking. If you pull more than 6 mobs, you do run the risk of wiping. Also, be careful when chain pulling here. You should try to heal up a little bit before you get to the next pack, just so that your healer has a little bit of breathing room. If you're not completely topped off when all of your pull dies, that means that you're going to get 5 or 6 stacks of this debuff and you're already going to be at 50% HP, so you might wipe as a result of that. So try to have a little bit of catch-up time with heals in between pulls. Now something that is very helpful and very good to note here is that absorption trinkets or absorption abilities do counteract that damage. So if you happen to have a few absorption trinkets, especially for tanks, this is a perfect affix to equip that in, just in case you pull too much. You can pop one of those trinkets and stop taking damage. Also, if you do happen to have any kind of self-healing abilities or talents, this rotation is the time to spec into them, pick those up, put them in your hotbars, and start using them. Just something else to note is that giant stamina trinkets or stat sticks aren't really going to be helping you much this affix, because it doesn't matter how much stamina you have or how big of a health bucket you are, because this debuff does percentage. So 10 stacks is going to kill anyone no matter how much HP they have, whether it's 3 million or 6 million, you're still going to go down to 10 stacks of this debuff. Now to the healers out there, this is a healer heavy affix, so you should be bringing your own water. One thing to note is even if you have a pull that's heavy on AoE damage, right before they go down is exactly when everyone should be topped off. So this affix doesn't really take place until the pull starts going down. Now once these mobs do start dying, that's when the debuff is applied, so that's when you have to go into overheal mode, and right before these debuffs hit, that's exactly when everybody should be topped off. Since this debuff hits everyone equally, you should be trying to maximize your AoE heals and trying to stack everyone as much as possible so that your heals become as efficient as possible. During this affix, short and bursty heals are going to be better. Now for all the DPS out there, you should be bringing absorption trinkets if you do have any of them. So if you've ever rolled off spec for any kind of tanking, or if you just happen to have Pridas, this week is the perfect week to equip Pridas or any absorption trinkets, just in case the pulls get a little out of hand. Also, depending on what other affix you have this week, you should be stacking on the tank. So if it's possible to stack on your tank during bursting, you should absolutely stack on him, just so that the healers can make every AoE heal as efficient as possible. Also, if you have any talents or abilities that do help heal yourself, this is a perfect affix to throw those on your hotbars and start using them. So overall, never do any pulls that are more than 6 mobs if you can help it. Use any absorption trinkets you have. If you have Pridas, this is the perfect affix for it, since absorption does work against this debuff. Spec into any self-healing abilities, or if you do happen to have any just as part of your kit, throw them in your hotbars and use them this week. Try to stack up as much as possible as soon as the pack goes down, so that your healer can use all his AoE heals as efficiently as possible. And bring water. If you have a mage, mage food is better. And if you have a warlock, health stones are going to be amazing during this affix in case the pulls get out of hand. One last thing to note about this affix is that any additional stacks do refresh the duration of this affix. So when you're AoEing, you want to do one of two things: bring all the mobs down within 2 seconds of each other, or stagger your kills so that they take more than 4 seconds between each other to actually go down. As a last note, I do hope this affix gets changed a little bit, at least make it so that we can line of sight it. The fact that the only limitation with this affix comes from how big or small your pulls are really seems like a little bit more of a nuisance. So if they implemented a way to try to avoid that damage, that might be a little bit better, to keep the spirit of Mythic Pluses alive and to make us be able to pull as much as we want and run these dungeons on a time limit. But that wraps up how to deal with bursting. Now, if you like my content and you want to help support the channel directly, please take a look at my Patreon down below. And as always, good luck out there.